Next on the rundown, a shootout with the top Bush hater working at the New York Times. You don't want to miss this one.
Well, I don't buy that at all. You know, Mr. Krugman is a smart guy, but Mr. Krugman was absolutely dead 100% wrong in his columns 2 years ago when he predicted the Bush tax cuts would lead to a deeper recession. You can read his book and see how wrong he was.
Actually, you can read it. I never said that. I said that it would lead to a lousy job creation record.
Column after column, you made the point in your book, okay, that these cuts, these tax cuts, were going to be disastrous for the economy.
No,
they haven't been.
I'm sorry, that's a lie. Let me just say it's a lie. I said they were ineffective at job creation, and if you look at the Bush administration,
ineffective at job creation. What is that? Semantics now?
No, it means
the economy is based on job creation, and you're saying it's ineffective. Don't call me a liar, pal. That's what you do all the time, and I'm not going to sit here.
No,
and
I'm sorry. You just did.
Ineffective. That's the biggest bunch of spin
Find
in the
a place
world.
where I said that they were going to cause a recession. Find
You
a place where I could
said,
say it.
look, you want to call it ineffective in job creation. What is a recession? A recession is when the GNP goes backward. Everybody knows it's going forward. Pounded, column after column. Disastrous for the economy. Tax cuts, disastrous.
No,
it hasn't been.
I said the tax cuts were not going to be effective at creating jobs, and the job creation record is lousy. This is the worst.
There has been a net loss of jobs.
There has been a net loss of jobs
in the Bush administration.
In the Bush administration.
9/11, did it not happen? Did it not happen?
Again, 2002 economic report of the president. They said we were going to be 7 million jobs ahead of
Okay,
where
they
we
were
now
wrong.
are.
I'm not defending them.
The job creation over the last 10 months, the 1.5 million, which the Bushies boast about, that is a slower pace of job creation than
You got a
Clinton had for
5.6% unemployment rate here. In the state of Florida, which is one of the states that's going to be the election bank, you got over 60% saying the economy is good or excellent. It's a state-by-state situation, all right? And I'm just tired of this stuff.
Well,
Look, if you think it's bad, fine.
Yeah.
And if Bush made a mistake in his estimation of job creation, you're probably right.
Look,
but you paint Armageddon, so does your newspaper, and it's baloney.
Right, well, this is what, okay, you know, this is not your show. You can't cut my mic.
Outfoxed. What do you think of that?
You know, basically, this is a guy who let his VCR, they did a lot of taping of Fox News, and they produced a kind of picture that you couldn't do on your own. It's a very cheaply made, but it gives you a picture of a network that is very much a propaganda arm. And, we can go through that lots of ways. But
of whom? Propaganda
of the right, of the Republican Party, or if you just like, of Rupert Murdoch.
And so the broadcasters and journalists on Fox News take marching orders?
Of course they do. I mean, if your fantasy was that there was a memo every morning that told you how we're going to cover the news so as to slant it, your fantasy would be right. We've now got copies of the memo.
All right. Well, look, Mr. Krugman lives in a world of his own. He embraces propaganda of the worst kind, and that's why I have very little regard for his professional analysis. I'll give you one example about that stupid thing. They put together a collage of me telling people to shut up, okay? In one of the, and this is just one, I can give you 100, but I don't want to waste time on it. In one of the discussions I had, I was talking to a young gay guy who was in a lot of trouble because he had outed himself in high school. And I said, why don't you just shut up about your sex life? That's what I said to him. They cut it with, why don't you just shut up? That is about as dishonest as it gets. I can take tape of you, Tim Russert, over the last 5 years, and I can make you look like anything I want you to make you look like. And you know it. You know how it's done. I can make you look like a communist. I can make you look like a fascist. That's what this guy did. The New York Times acts as a de facto publicist for these kinds of vehicles. Fahrenheit, This Stupid Thing, Stuart Smalley's Defamation, every left-wing book that comes down the pike. You know, I've had 3 #1 New York Times bestsellers. They haven't reviewed any of them. Every left-wing smear book that comes down stands alone. They take stuff out, like he just did, and say, oh, yeah, Fox, this is public. Oh, yeah, of course. I have provable stuff of what they do, and I'll stand on it.
Do you think that Fox News Channel has a conservative spin to it?
If you look at the Fox News commentators in prime time, starting with Hume and ending with Van Susteren, it comes right down the line, okay? Van Susteren is a liberal. Holmes is a liberal. Hannity's a conservative. I'm a traditionalist. Shepard Smith is really nothing, and he's just in a neutral guy, in a neutral zone. And Hume, I would say that he's slightly conservative, but certainly no bomb thrower. All right? It is unbelievable because you don't know what you're talking about. We put more liberals on the air than conservatives. We put more liberal voices on the air than conservatives. And we have a tally every day of what we put on. There is no talking points. There is no marching order. It doesn't exist. But these people, they want you to think that. But here's the bottom line. In the Democratic convention, the factor killed CNN and MSNBC from 8 to 9. You've got to assume many Republicans weren't even watching that. It was an independent Democrat audience primarily. Wiped them off the face of the earth. And the reason is the people know we give voice to all sides, unlike this guy and his newspaper. Where did you get that little evil quote, by the way? You don't listen to the Radio Factory.
No, but they have video clips.
Oh, who gave it to you?
Yeah, it is Media Matters.
Media Matters. Oh, I see. A real objective website.
Hey, wait a second,
Mr.
sir.
Propaganda. You ought to take and do your own research, pal, and stop taking a left-wing garbage and throwing it out there for the folks.
What have they said that's false?
Do your own research.
No, come
that's
on.
out of context,
It helps
and you
me.
know it. It helps
is
you,
not.
baloney.
They've got the clip.
You are about
guys
the
can
most
listen to it.
unobjective person on the face of the Media Matters.
Oh, come
Why don't
on.
you just call Fidel? Call him up in Havana. He'll tell you what's going on.
Now that we've got the great, and whatever it is, it ends up being a communist.
Oh, my God. That's like me calling some Klan operation. Why don't I call it Ku Klux Klan?
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Read the quote. Read the
Yeah,
quote.
the quote is.
So this is the United States who has freed the world from communism, freed the world from fascism, from the Axis powers, freed the Pacific from the Japanese. Okay, all of this, but we bring sadness and misery to places all around the globe. This is Michael Moore. He believes this. He believes that we are an evil country.
Now, I saw a film, a flawed film, a lot of things that were overstated, but I think that there were a lot of things in that film that showed that this is a guy who really does love his country. And he loves the working people of America. And if you could watch that, oh, come on, guilt by association. Somebody picks it up, there are right-wing hate groups who like to quote you. Do you think that that makes you guilty of everything that they do?
You know what? I never call those right-wing hate groups up to get my quotes. You call the left-wing hate groups up to get your propaganda.
Somebody who runs a website is the equivalent of the Ku Klux Klan.
Do your own research.
Come on, guy.
All right. To be continued.